I just did an entire video on Moho rigs, Moho, the animation software, and how you can use rigging to do animation that looks frame by frame. And I wanted to do the same thing with Blender because there's so many amazing 3D rigs in Blender that people are then taking and turning into 2D looking animation, or 2D with the touch of 3D animation applied to them. It's amazing. And so we're gonna just pound through a bunch of examples I found online that I think are just top tier examples of great animation. This is my number one by PLASTIEK. This totally looks like 2D animation here, but they break it down and you can see, no, this is actually a 3D model working in 3D space. It's just that the camera is set a certain way. So the head and the mouth, the eye movements, those things are 2D frame by frame animation that you can do in Blender, but they're taking that walk cycle, they're taking that run cycle, and they're building that character out in 3D. I just think this is a fantastic example of the type of thing you can do here. And shout out to PLASTIEK, she has a whole bunch of these things. She has long form and short form videos. Here's one that I really liked. This is like a hybrid where the character is running towards you, and here they're showing like this is what it actually looks like. It's kind of a similar thing with the 2D head with frame by frame for the mouth and the eyes and that sort of thing, but the rest of the world and the character model itself is 3D. I think this looks amazing. Number two, this is an artist that goes by the name chen on Twitter. This is a YouTube video. I'll link all of these down below, so if you want to check any of them out, you totally should. But in the upper left-hand corner, we have this still from what looks like a Studio Ghibli movie, and then over on the right, we have the top right, we have like the finished image with the leaves blowing and the hair moving, and then down below we can kind of see the model. How is this actually structured? Where are the polygons? What's going on in the hair? The hair kind of has some like bone elements in it, so it's kind of moving with the wind. I love watching this stuff. Even the background is a 3D model that has like 2D attached to it. Just a little bonus, just scrolling through this person's Twitter account is epic. Everybody, you've probably seen this meme, and so this guy recreated this character. I absolutely love this. Check this out. And it's got that weird angle, but it looks perfect when he like pulls it the other way. That is so awesome. Next channel is called Stay Tuned, and what he's doing here is he's creating a 2D scene in a 3D world. So you can see that the couch and the background in the room are 3D, but the character that's swinging around in it is actually done in 2D. And in this video, he goes through step by step how he did it, how he went in, how he constructed the scene, how he's setting up the camera, how he's shading everything, and then he goes into how he created the characters and all that kind of fun stuff. It's definitely worth your time if you're interested in combining these 2D and 3D elements together in a video. Also, shout out to his full YouTube channel. It's not just this video, but he has several videos where he's talking about this combination of a 2D, 3D process and some of the different things he's tried. Definitely worth checking out. Number four is Dedouze. I don't think any 2D Blender animation list is complete unless you put him on it. He has a ton of tutorials on YouTube. He has a ton of stuff on Instagram. He has such a unique style where he's combining 2D and 3D together. This particular video is just showing how you can kind of take these 3D elements but still apply like 2D animation, like squash and stretch and that sort of thing to it. And I think it's a really great place to learn. But his entire Instagram feed is just fantastic, and it's just filled with so many amazing pieces of work that he's done. So this is the Instagram account for Margarita.pics. This is a pig sculpture that she's making here, just a 3D model, but also applying paint in Blender to make it look like a two-dimensional or more of a 2D traditionally painted model. And then she's taking that model, animating it in Blender, and then when she has the final piece, which is, let's get to the final, there we go, you could see it has kind of this 2D/3D hybrid feel, which works really well. Also, some of the models that are available here are on Coffee, so if you want to like spend a few bucks and get the model, break it down, see how it's done, this is a great resource. This is from Rémi Borowczyk, and the entire Instagram account here is fantastic. This is great like 2D 3D hybrid stuff. And what I love about what he's doing here is he's taking entire scenes and really making them moody and paying attention to layout and color and composition and all that great stuff. Let's go over to the full page so you can see the type of stuff that they work on. Here's another one. This one is really good. You have that composition, you have those great colors going on, you have some secondary animations going on. I believe this is a collaboration project that they worked with some other artists on. So the whole thing comes together just so well. And I would also recommend checking out Rémi's website and portfolio and seeing all the personal work and stuff that they have done there. All of it is worth checking out. Before we get to number 7, I want to thank today's sponsor, me. Over at Brad's Art School, I have my Learn to Draw in 60 Days course, which is really designed for beginners, people who are just getting started at art. Maybe you've taken other tutorials and thought, gosh, that was hard. What am I missing? This is designed to give you 60 days worth of lessons where every day you learn something new, every lesson builds on the next one, and by the end, you can tackle some of those harder tutorials you find online. Learn more at bradsartschool.com. We're up to number 7 already. This is Tre.bold, and what I love about this is just the energy and the style and the personality that comes through in all this artwork. I don't know if I could necessarily call this, I guess it's like a 2D, 3D hybrid, but there's definitely a lot more like 3D elements going on here. It's got like a video game twist to it, but like a music video twist to it. Some of this animation is just really top-notch, low poly 2D feeling artwork. I love this stuff. This is an image by Andre Wee, and when you just look at it on Instagram, it totally looks like an oil painting, something that was done in Photoshop or Procreate or something like that. But if we start flipping through, we start to see that no, this is a 3D Blender model. This is someone with a lot of artistic skill in like the 2D space who's now bringing it over to the character art they're doing in Blender. So here's the render, and you can kind of see all those textures and all those oils and all that stuff going on. And here's the 3D version. And it's really cool to just see, how did you do the shapes? How much are the shapes of the Blender object doing heavy lifting, and where is the actual texture and oil painting doing the heavy lifting in this illustration? I love looking at this stuff. This is aescudero.ma, and they have a lot of things on their Instagram page where they're kind of combining these two worlds. This almost has like a paper cut feel to the animation that they're putting together here. This is the backside of a bird that they're animating right now. So even though they're in Blender, they're going through this frame by frame by frame. They're combining the frame by frame elements of Blender with some of those 3D elements of Blender to get this really unique look. And here we have the pieces parts, and you can see the drop shadow and everything that really kind of comes together to give it that paper cut art feel. Let's go over to their full Instagram page so you can see all the work here, because some of these actually show up really, really well. And yeah, here's another one, same character, different way. And also, I believe a lot of these files are over on Gumroad, so if you want to check out their Gumroad, download the files, see how they did them. I'll just go over to Gumroad myself and check it out. So yeah, you could go and get some of the demo files here. Codygindy, this is another one where when you look through the process of how this is done, you can really start to understand how some of these oil painty looking Blender animations come together, and how he's using the shadows, how he's painting on the models, and how like when you actually start to see this stuff in 3D, it looks really cool. Some before and after shots of this thing. Let's do it again. Let's go over to the Instagram page, because again, there are several example files. Some of these are not 3D. This one's 3D. This is like a 3D low poly frog that he's got sitting here on there. He's got a lot of 2D paintings in here as well. Totally worth following along and seeing what he's working on. So this is the Goose Tavern. I've talked about this channel on my channel here before, not quite like this, but this animation is great. You can tell right away when you're looking at it that it is 3D, but it does have that kind of flattened, cel-shaded kind of anime look to it that's really cool. But it would be really hard to do like a frame by frame sort of like gravity physics based drop like that. But this video kind of goes through, it's 17 minutes long, and it goes through the whole process of how this was put together. And again, like the other channels, there are a bunch of Blender tutorials that are combining 2D and 3D together. Totally worth checking out. Laura Mercedal, I'm probably mispronouncing that, I apologize, but this is a great example of taking a 3D model and just applying this like grease pencil layer, this sketch layer on top of it to create this like 2D walking animation. Obviously, this is like a Game Boy type device that's going on. Right now, they're adding a whole bunch of extra textures and feature and little elements to it. A little bit of painting on that model. And here we go. We're very close to the end. So here's the final thing, just a little bit of pivot around, and it takes this 2D image and really brings it to life. I also like examples like this because it breaks it down and says, hey, you don't have to do anything crazy complex. You don't have to have like this massive scene with a lot of moving things. It's just, hey, model something simple, add some nice colors, some textures, get the composition looking right, get the contrast looking right, and you can do really amazing things here, and it doesn't feel overwhelming. This seems like the type of thing a lot of people could follow along to. Number 13, this is when art. This is a pig and a bear with a Valentine's Day cannon just like shooting out the hearts, and this is a 3D scene, but when you first look at it, it does not look 3D. It totally looks 2D going on here. But you can obviously, as they start to pivot, it's 100% 3D. Let's check out their other work, because there is some other work here. Like here's a frog on lily pads. You can see how they're panning out so they can show you the whole screen or whole scene, how it's all put together. Again, another one of those nice 2D feeling oil painted type animation scenes that really comes together. This is a scene by Jackiedroujko. She has a YouTube channel. You've probably seen it, but this is just phenomenal. She's an amazing animator who does such like great character designs and really understands the medium. So seeing someone with those skills moving over to Blender is really inspiring. And this scene is just a great example of that. The colors and like just the different paints that are used here, it's just so nice. And she has some YouTube videos where she's talked about this. Oh, here's another one. This is another great character. It's a 3D character, but it has that 2D feel to it. And again, this takes someone who's been in the animation industry, understands how to pose a character, how to do that kind of dynamism while setting that up. So it's not just standing there, you know, like kind of having that action and putting it in 3D is so cool. Number 15, this one's by Lacruzo, and this is a great example of just taking a simple model of a vending machine, which is a square, which is like a little bit curved off edges. There's some simple shapes on inside the vending machine, just added some stuff here, but then adding that grease pencil layer on top of it, but also some filters to get some of those outlines and things like that going on. Here's a breakdown of like the basic version, the colored version, and then what happens when you add some of that line art on top of it and how it ends up looking. I think this is another example of, hey, let's do something that isn't too complicated. And for me, someone who's still learning a lot of this stuff, especially grease pencil and animation, to see how simple you can start and really kind of take it and do amazing things is really inspiring. Let's jump ahead so you can see when we get to this grease pencil section of it's just a matter of adding some of those little details, drawing them in with your drawing tablet and pen. It looks really cool. Does Lacruzo have more videos? I think so. Yeah, a low poly character, some shorts here so you can see some of their other work. Really good stuff. Number 17, last but not least, this is Viole. This is just a short, and it totally looks 2D until you start to see that character moving around. And this is a slightly different technique than I've seen to some of the others, where the others are actually taking a 3D model, putting it in 2D space and putting filters on it or painting it in such a way so it looks 2D, so it's almost like that cell shaded look. This is a little bit different because what this person is doing is, let's forward ahead a little bit, is, oh, they're taking this 2D image, they're turning that into a mesh, and then they're adding dimension to that 2D image so that when they're tilting it, it looks like that. Well, it does. That image actually has some dimension to it. It's not just a flat image being moved around. And then they're adding kind of that bone structure so they can add some of that tilting to it. It gives the illusion of 2D without actually doing, or it gives the illusion of 3D without actually doing all that 3D work. So those are my favorite Blender 2D, 3D hybrid animation things that I was able to find over the last few weeks. What are some of your favorites? Drop them in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days.